A strong US image greatly benefits me living abroad. It's my dream. I am accomplishing my dream, which is here, which is Korea. The American way of life wasn't the only way of life. Who wants to live in a country, who wants to grow up in a country where you're afraid to go to the hospital? If you're an American viewer or a viewer from another country that can't speak Korean, Namsan Hongwan. This means Namsan Park. And of course, to get to the park, we have to traverse a mountain of stairs. This is Korea. You can see there in the distance, there is the actual Namsan Tower. And I'm sweating and I'm breathing hard because it's a trek. It's difficult to get to the top. It's difficult to reach your goal. You know, growing up in America, I always heard and learned about the American dream. The American dream, I was told, was to have a house with a white picket fence, 2.5 children, a dog, and maybe a cat and some goldfish, and also a nice sedan sitting in your driveway. But what if what I learned was wrong? What if the American dream is not to have a white picket fence, a house with 2.5 children, a sedan, a dog, goldfish, and all of that? What if I found my American dream in Korea? And this is why I enjoy climbing to the top of this park and looking at this tower. It's not only a representative of Seoul, of Korea, but it's a representative of me achieving my dream, my American dream in Korea. This video is not going to be fancy. There's not going to be any special cuts or B-roll or anything like that. It's just going to be me talking about my American dream. So as I mentioned before in the intake or the intro, that I was told the American dream was to have all of that stuff, a house, white picket fence, you know, family in the United States. But as I grew up, as I began to understand the system in which I lived, I realized that it's not always possible for Americans to achieve that dream. As a matter of fact, part of that dream was making sure that you went through public school, and after you finished public elementary school, you went to middle school, and then you would go to high school, and then after high school, you would go on to college, and after college, you would get your degree, and then you would find a nice paying job, and that nice paying job would set you up for the foreseeable future, and it would be enough to, the salary that you earn from the job would be enough to afford all of the necessities in life, even taking care of a wife and family. I quickly realized that that dream is not accurate. I don't want to say it's not true, but it's just not accurate. I went to school. I got all of the degrees. I've got 4 degrees. And the American dream just wasn't achievable for me. I had to really bust my butt to get all of my degrees. And most of the degrees that I received, they're from American schools, but I didn't receive them in America. I received them from American schools, but while I was studying here in Korea. Just being in America, I never felt as if I would be able to achieve what was the quintessential or stereotypical image of how Americans would live. I don't know if it was in high school or if it was in college when I first began to realize that something wasn't right. Something wasn't going according to plan. I was following the script. I was doing everything that my teachers and my family told me to do. I was going to school, I was studying, I was, getting grades, I was getting degrees, but something was off. And it wasn't until I moved to France that I realized that I'd probably been lied to. I say lied to, I mean lied to by family, by school teachers, by administrators, by state politicians, by federal politicians. Some of those lies could be deliberate. Some of those lies could be out of ignorance. I'll never know. And I guess that's an epistemological argument for another time. I realized when I moved to France that there is a whole nother world that I can participate in, I can be a part of, which would also allow me to progress myself, to achieve my dream, which as a young person, I still didn't know. Living in France for 3 years taught me a lot about myself. and it taught me a lot about the world. It taught me that the American perspective, the American way of life wasn't the only way of life. It wasn't the only way that I could live to achieve happiness. Who wants to live in a country, who wants to grow up in a country where you're afraid to go to the hospital because it might destroy your bank account, or you might have to go into debt just to fix a scraped knee or to bandage a twisted ankle? Who wants to grow up living in fear like that? And when I was younger, I did, and most people in my community did as well. We would never go to the hospital out of fear of payment, not out of fear of doctors, not out of fear of, maybe there would be a medical mistake, but out of fear of the price, which should be a basic human right. And don't get me wrong, there are social programs in the United States that help people to get food, to have medical assistance, but there's also like a stigma that goes along with that. And especially in the African American community, if you were to receive, let's say, food stamps or welfare assistance, a lot of people would make fun of you. They would say you're poor, which you are, but those other people are also poor as well. They're just pretending not to be. But yeah, you would be considered poor, or people would, as I said, laugh at you. They would, castigate you. They would call you names and things like that. Even to a point where when I was in middle school, when I first found out what free lunch was, I actually stopped eating lunch because I was afraid that other students would make fun of me. Can you believe that? Can you believe I actually stopped eating lunch in middle school and started buying cheap candy and stuff to, I guess, compensate for not having energy from food, real food, just so people would not make fun of me make fun of me for being poor. That's just, talking about this now just brings back so many memories. And I'm not saying that the United States is the only country that has this. I'm pretty sure that this exists in Korea and other countries as well. And this carried over to high school as well. So many students in my high school were wearing Gucci or Tommy Hilfiger and all of these clothes, and I couldn't afford any of that. So when I finally did get some of those shirts, then I was accepted. But as soon as I stopped wearing those clothes, people would again make fun of me. And these are people in the same community as me. And luckily, I didn't start doing drugs or smoking or drinking or anything like that to make myself feel better from being made fun of by my peers. But a lot of people did. And a lot of people in my class, in my high school class, they turned to lives of crime. Some of them went to juvenile. I remember I was in the church mime ministry where we would interpret songs through scriptural songs, biblical songs, through dance, through miming. And I remember going to one of the juvenile detention homes or centers to dance with some of my friends from church. And I saw two guys from my English literature class in the juvenile home. And this is after we graduated. So a lot of students from my community turned to lives of crime and other degenerate activities, probably a lot of the time because either they wanted to impress people or they didn't have enough resources to get by. Once I figured out that I could go to France and that living in France was possible, it was possible for me to thrive, then I began to bust my butt in order to find other opportunities for me to succeed outside of the United States. I remember going to the United States one time from France to visit, and when I arrived in the States, something just didn't feel right. I just felt like I didn't belong there. I felt like I could do better than the situation that I was currently in, or I would have been if I decided to stay in the United States. So yeah, it hit me really hard at that point in time that I definitely did not belong in the United States and that my American dream wasn't in America. It was that I've always had international friends. I've always liked to venture into other communities and make friends with people who did not look like me. A lot of my friends from my community, from the African American community, weren't really down with that. Like I was the, I guess, black sheep, so to speak, of my family and of the community where I lived. I remember one time I had a flat tire and one of my best friends, he's Chinese, or he's of Vietnamese descent. Actually, I don't know if he knows what he is because he can never explain to me. Anyways, he's human. So he gave me a ride to my grandfather's automotive shop so I can repair my flat tire. And I remember when he got out of the car, I was so embarrassed because my grandfather's tire shop, or automotive shop, excuse me, was located like in the hood. So when he got out of the car, I could hear people saying like ching tong 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 ching, like making, fun of him being of Asian descent. And it just embarrassed me so much. And I wasn't angry at them because I understood that they were making those remarks out of ignorance, but it just made me realize like, I definitely don't belong here in America. I don't belong in this city. Even though it's not bad to be in America, I foresaw that I wasn't going to be able to achieve what it was that I wanted to achieve to progress myself, to accomplish my goals. So when I finally moved to Korea, I said this in another video that I was only going to stay here for 1 year, but that 1 year has turned into almost 14 years of steady life here in the Republic of Korea. I'm American through and through. I'm just as American as any other person born in the United States. I hear the national anthem, even though there's some, I guess, controversy around it these days. But when I hear the national anthem, I stand up, I put my hand over my heart, I pledge allegiance to the flag. I love the United States. We're not perfect. The country definitely isn't perfect. It does some things very bad, but it also does some things very good and very right. A strong image of America in the world means that I benefit more from that in all the countries where I travel than if America was just known for all of the bad things that it does. It doesn't mean that I need to live in the country in order to enjoy the successes and the benefits and privileges of being an American. My American dream is not living in America. My American dream is living in Korea. It is living abroad. It is being able to travel to various countries and to be an unofficial ambassador for the United States in all of the countries that I travel to. Oh, my hat. I love the idea of the American dream, of the house with the white picket fence, the fish, all of that stuff, the 2.5 children. But it doesn't necessarily mean that I need to adhere to that stereotypical image of the American dream. And I wish that schools and families would begin teaching children and young people that you don't have to stay in America to have your dreams come true. You can achieve your dreams in other places around the world. And I really don't want this video to seem like a sad story for me. I'm not trying to get you to give me sympathy or anything like that. I'm not sad or angry for my past, and I'm definitely not regretful of the decisions that I made to move abroad, to leave America. I just want you, if you're watching this video, to understand that there are other opportunities for you outside of the United States for you to grow, for you to thrive. Many people these days are becoming digital nomads. They are leaving the States and they are moving to countries like Thailand or Korea or even China. And they're thriving, they're working, they're earning US dollars, and they're able to use their US dollars in the countries where they live to have a more comfortable life than some of the locals there because of the strength of the US dollar, which is something that can piggyback on what I said earlier about a strong US image greatly benefits me living abroad, especially here in Korea. I remember once when I was applying for a job here in Korea at a Hagwon, at a private institution for learning, I asked the director of the Hagwon, would there be any problems with racism or discrimination because I'm an African American? And I know that in Korea, most places prefer, I guess, Caucasian or European people. So the director told me, he says, oh no, it'll be okay. Obama is president of America now. So there's a very good image of African Americans in Korea. So yeah, I benefited from America having the image of an African American president here in Korea. So I don't want to lambast or speak negatively of the United States. It's just that I can still be American. I can still believe in an American dream, but that American dream doesn't need to be in America. My friends back home, they see my Instagram stories or they watch my YouTube videos, and they're always saying how, Francois, you are so lucky. You're having an amazing time over there doing whatever you're doing. We don't even know which country you're in now, but you know, we wish that we could do the exact same thing as you. And the thing is that they can, or they could have if they didn't have children. Most of them didn't have children now, or even they can if they have children. Two things can be right at the same time. You can be American, you can have an idea of an American dream, but that dream doesn't necessarily have to take place where you think it needs to take place or where you've been taught that it should take place. One of my friends, one of my best friends, his name is Sky. He's a YouTuber just like me. Actually, he's the person who got me started with YouTube. I had no interest in YouTube, but Sky was like, hey, Francois, get on YouTube, share your story with the world. People are going to be interested. You're going to be able to help a lot of people from different communities, different ethnicities and backgrounds, but especially African Americans. They can see that, you know, there's another way for them to live, another way for them to accomplish their goals in life. But I remember when I would go back and forth between America and France, Sky would sometimes pick me up from my friend's house, and he would just like talk to me, ask me questions about, you know, Francois, you know, you're living abroad, you're in France. Like, I really want to do that. I'm living in Atlanta now. I want to go to California, which he did. He moved to California. He worked for CBS, and now he's living in the Netherlands with his wife and children, enjoying himself, making a lot of money, you know, having a wonderful family life, and just thriving, being outside of the United States. As I said in another video, I'm a humanist. I am a humanist through and through. I understand that people are people wherever you go. We are all humans. There is no race. There is just, I guess, if you could say there's a race, there would be just the one human race. We only look different because we evolved in different areas and were affected by food, the atmosphere, environment, whatever you have it. So yeah, I make these videos, and it's not only for African Americans. I speak from an African American perspective because it's the community where I come from, and I'm hoping that this video or my videos reach other African Americans who were in similar situations as me when I was younger, not having a lot of money, coming from very poor, humble backgrounds, but understanding that there's always several possibilities and many different avenues for you to achieve success, not just the standard definition of the American dream where you go to school, you accumulate all of these degrees and you hope that these degrees will land you a good job so you can take care of your children and get that white picket fence. Yeah, so if you're at home and you're wanting to move out of the country, if you're wanting to achieve your American dream elsewhere, then get on the internet and do some research. That's what I did. You have to do some research. Nothing in this world is free. To a certain extent, sometimes things are free. But you need to work at it. You need to find your own opportunities. And it's that struggle. It's that, you know, constant dedication of searching for something that will make you happy, that builds mettle, that it builds a strong constitution that will allow you to also handle other situations in life that may not be according to plan. One more look at Namsan Tower. It's my dream. I am accomplishing my dream, which is here, which is Korea. I love this place. It's very difficult for me to leave it. Korea has its problems, of course, but Korea has a lot of good things about it as well. And my soul resonates with this place. People treat me well. I in turn treat them well, and I mind my own business. And I thrive here in this country. So at the risk of sounding repetitive or being so verbose, I'm going to end this video. But yeah, if you need any help, if you need any assistance looking for teaching jobs or digital nomad jobs, you know, you can always contact me. I'll do my best to help you. I'm also a busy human, just like you. But if you contact me on Instagram or Facebook, or even in the comment section here in the YouTube video, I'll do my best. I love to help people which is also a big weakness and a fault of mine, because sometimes I do that at the expense of my own my own security. But yeah, I'll do my best to help you, and I hope that you'll be able to achieve your dreams. I hope that you'll be able to find, you know, different paths to your goals, so that you will one day also have the same success that I feel. Or no, I want you to be more successful than me, because each one helps one, right? No crabs in a barrel mentality here. Each one helps one. So thanks a lot for watching this video. I love you all as always. Please stay hydrated. Please drink 5 cups of water a day or more. Get your 10,000 steps in. Stay active. Health is number one. And as always, I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Love you guys. Peace.